Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you. Light up the night, my love shine through. From Mount Zion, this is what we do. Bring love to you. Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you.
Hello everyone, we're starting soon, letting more people in. Enjoy this song for now.
Today is the day, tonight is the night. Sunset, twilight, head back, come along, take flight. High and twinkle and a sprinkle and a shooting in the sky. Time shine and I'm feeling alright. Light a candle for the one you love. We sunlight from below to above. 8 nights, celebrate till I fly in the sky like a dove. Let me unwind as I light up a flame in the name of the Lion of Judah. Drop like a hammer when I fall like the rain. Sun shower, feel a power when I hit like a train. Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you. Light up the night, my love shine through. From Mount Zion, this is what we do. Bring love to you. Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you. Light up the night, my love shine through. From Mount Zion, this is what we do. Bring love to you. Tuning into the cosmos, flows intact. On a ride to excite, now I'm fighting back. Into time with the divine, there's a battle through your spine. It's a battle from the ancient line. Son of King David, Maccabee till the end of time. You're my light in this hardest time. Yes, you bring peace to my mind. Won't you please let me unwind as I light up a flame in the name of the Lion of Judah. Drop like a hammer when I fall like the rain. Sun shower, feel a power when I hit like a train. Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you. Light up the night, my love shine through. From Mount Zion, this is what we do. Bring love to you. Happy Hanukkah, I wanna give a gift to you. Light up the night, my love shine through. From Mount Zion, this is what we do. Bring love to you. Celebration, get your hands up high. Get your hands up high. Celebration, get your hands up high. Get your hands up high. Celebration.
Hey, hi everyone. I hope you can hear me well. Welcome to our live Hanukkah tour, live from Jerusalem. We're happy to celebrate Hanukkah's last day with everyone here and everyone on Facebook. Before we start the live tour, we had a small surprise. We had asked the communities to share their beacon of light, the light of the community, and we want to share it with you right here. And it will be followed by menorah lighting, by Hanukkah candle lighting, which will lead to our tour. So first, I want to invite from Louisville, Kentucky, Amy Connor and Jen Jacobson. So there you go. The mic is yours.
Jen, I just said your name. Put it in here. So the light of our city, I think, has been this group of women that we met through Federation and Partnership 2 years ago, and they're a group of women that we may not have all had the opportunity to meet without Federation, and now we are still so close and excited to get together and see each other, and it's been a blessing.
Hey everyone, I'm Jen. It's so nice to see everybody. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I love this group of people. And I was just asked to speak very briefly about the light that the new J plays in our community. And what I wanted to say about the new building and the J and the presence of the J in Louisville is, and the aspect of it being the light for me is the warmth of it. The J has brought so much warmth into my life and into my son's life. He's 10. No, he's 11 and he's almost 12. And it's the warmth of the J that's especially meaningful to me. And with the new J, and I hope you all get a chance to see it, It's amazing. And well, I have to admit that we're gonna miss the gritty J that we have now. It's a little run down. I love it for all its flaws. The new J represents investment and commitment to the future of the Jewish community here in Louisville. And not just the Jewish community, but also the community at large, because we have so many non-Jews who come to Louisville. And it's so wonderful to see the multi-generational membership of the J and the way we interact with each other. And it's just great to have the J be for Jews, but also to help people see how just Jewish people, just to see posters for Jewish programming on the walls and things. It's just good for the exposure of the Jews, of the Jewish community and the greater community of Louisville. So anyway, I'm just so thrilled about it, and I can't wait to maybe walk you, lots of you, around the new J when you come and visit us. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Yay! Oh, Louisville!
Thank you, Louisville. And let's move forward to Austin and to Jessica. Okay, maybe Jessica is not here yet. So we're skipping. We're skipping to Dayton. So Marcy from Dayton, Ohio.
Hi, everybody. Chag Sameach. I was going to share my screen, but I don't have that capability. So can you share that one slide, please?
Go ahead,
Gil?
Marcy. You can do it now.
Okay. I just want to share this, what we're doing. This is really exciting for us. We've joined the national initiative. Many of your communities are doing this as well. It's Shine a Light on Anti-Semitism. It's a national initiative, and we're very excited to be a part of this. Tonight, we have our community, our community Hanukkah party, Hanukkah on Ice. We are meeting at the ice rink, and we have 17 partners who are going to be lighting our big Hanukiyah with us. And these are partners that are members of the Jewish community organizations and also non-Jewish organizations. And it's just really exciting that we can share this with our partnership community.
Thank you, Marcy. And from Springfield, we have a special video recording. So let me grab it for you real quick. Okay. All right.
Shalom. My name is Mark Wankett. I'm a proud resident of Springfield, Illinois, a proud member of the local Jewish community, and a volunteer at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Museum. I'm in the museum's main plaza. Behind me are the figures that represent the 5 members of the Lincoln family as they entered the White House in 1861. This world-class facility opened in 2005. Since that time, the museum has welcomed millions of visitors from throughout the U.S. and from countries around the world. This museum, along with other local Lincoln sites, explain why Springfield continues to be a top U.S. destination for foreign travelers. Around the world, Lincoln is by far the most recognized American, living or deceased. In my foreign travels, I've seen ample evidence of that. In Jerusalem, for example, Abraham Lincoln Street is located just a short distance from the King David Hotel. I also had an opportunity a few years ago to visit a preschool in Beersheba, where I handed out pencils that contained Lincoln's image. I was most impressed that young students, Jewish and Arabic, recognized Lincoln. The people of Springfield and our entire nation are very proud of our 16th president, his dedication and efforts to secure peace and justice as a model for all. For Americans and for people around the planet, Abraham Lincoln continues to serve as a true beacon of light. So long from Springfield. Plan to visit us, and happy Hanukkah.
from Springfield, that was Mark Wenkat. And if Austin, Jessica is here, would love hearing you, but I guess not yet. Okay. So with not too much ado, I want to introduce us to our tour guide today, who is coming from Stand With Us. So a little bit about Stand With Us. Stand With Us is an international and non-partisan Israel education organization that inspires and educates people of all ages and backgrounds, challenges misinformation, and fights anti-Semitism. And Yoni Zerler is the Stand With Us Israel Director of Tourism and leading tour educator. He has dedicated his work to sharing Israel with visitors of all backgrounds, from college students and families to personalities like Harvey Keitel and Ellen Dershowitz. Is that right, Yoni?
Yes, it is, Gil. Can you hear me?
Hi, Yoni. We can hear you all the way from Jerusalem.
Yes, can you see me all the way from Jerusalem as well?
We can see you as well.
Perfect. All right. So my one final technical thing, am I spotlighted? Not yet. All right. If you spotlight me, we'll just make it easier on everyone. All right. But meanwhile, I'll say, Hanukkah Sameach, everyone. Welcome to Jerusalem. It's a pleasure to be with you tonight. Especially happy to hear names like Dayton and Louisville. I'm from Cleveland originally, so we used to travel there for family vacations all the time. So it's really a pleasure to be able to take all of you to Jerusalem tonight. And for those of you who I haven't been there yet, eventually I'm going to get there as well. We're here in the Nachlaot neighborhood of Jerusalem, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But first, I want to start this off the right way for Hanukkah. We have our friend Svika here. He's inside. He lives in this house over here, one of the local Nachlaoters who sets out every year a table for people to come and to light Hanukkah candles right in front of his house to give everyone an opportunity. And that's what we're going to do together today. We've got a little bit of a wind cover in here. It's a little bit makeshift because it was a lot windier than we thought it was going to be. Oh. Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam asher kidishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Hanukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam she'asa nisim lavoteinu Bayamim hahem bazman hazeh. Hanerot halalu anachnu madlikim al hanisim v'al haniflaot v'al hatishuot v'al hamilchamot she'asita lavoteinu Bayamim hahem bazman hazeh al yedei kohanecha hakedoshim v'chol shemonat yemei Chanukah hanerot halalu kodeshem v'ein lanu reshut lishtamesh bahem ela lirotam bilvad kedei lehodot Ulehalel leshimcha hagadol al nisecha v'al nifleotecha v'al yeshuatecha ma'osur yeshuati lechana elishabeach tikon beit tefilati v'sham toda nizabeach Le'etachin matbeach mitzor hamnabeach az egmor b'shir mizmor Chanukah hamizbeach az egmor b'shir mizmor Chanukah hamizbeach. And despite the wind, we have managed to light the Hanukkah candles. We'll get the last candle lit. How symbolic. All those years where we've had a wind blowing against us. Oh, I forgot. Shamash is going to be a trouble. Little tricky to get in there. All those years where the Jewish people might have known a wind trying to extinguish the flame of tradition. No, that's too dangerous. Trying to extinguish the flame of tradition. Yeah, we'll try to put this here. This is very makeshift. But we have always persevered, no matter how difficult it is. We've never let the flame go out. We've never let the light go out. It's lasted for so many years, as the song goes. And that's what we're going to be exploring tonight. We're going to be looking at the story of this neighborhood, Nachlaot, and taking a look at how the history of the neighborhood, through the history of the neighborhood and the lights that line this neighborhood, we're going to try to understand a little bit of the deeper meaning of Hanukkah, some of the maybe the more hidden meanings of Hanukkah. Follow me this way as we get started. And I'll say, you should know it's very busy tonight. It has been nonstop groups. I'm hoping that now that it's a little bit later, things have calmed down just a little bit, but it's been nonstop groups. I had a group before this. Everyone is out to see the lights and to spread the lights. And I want you to feel like you're a part of this trip. And throughout this tour, if you have any questions, if you have anything that you want to say, Gil will be taking them in the comment section or in the chat section. You can put them in there. And we're going to start our journey now here in front of this incredible synagogue. And something that we have to understand when we're talking about Nachlaot is that this is a neighborhood that's made out of 32 different neighborhoods, 32 different little neighborhoods. Those of you who are familiar with some of the history of Jerusalem know that until the year 1860, there was no old city of Jerusalem and new city. There was just the city within what we know today as the old city walls. In 1860, Sir Moses Montefiore built Mishkinot Shananim with the famous windmill, and Jerusalem begins expanding, but that's a different tour that we can go on together. We're now in the 6th neighborhood built outside the walls of the old city. And as this neighborhood began to expand, and this idea of moving out of the old city caught on, everyone started building every kind of like different culture, every immigrant group of Jews returning home to Israel. They started building a little piece here, a little piece there, their own little neighborhood until we have these 32 neighborhoods. We're in the Mazkeret Moshe Ashkenazi European neighborhood. That's the background. Across the street, if you take a look over there, and Elise, our camerawoman, is just going to show you, if you were to cross the street over there, you would enter into the Ohel Moshe neighborhood, the Sephardic, the Middle Eastern neighborhood. So every neighborhood's got its own flavor, got its own spice. But what's fascinating about this synagogue is if you look at the name, it says that this synagogue belongs to the Sephardic community, which is weird because I just said we are in the Ashkenazi neighborhood. So how do you end up with the Sephardic synagogue in the middle of the Ashkenazi neighborhood? You have to go back to the roots. When this synagogue was anything but a synagogue, once upon a time, this synagogue was the local neighborhood pub. This was the bar. This is where everything was happening at night. And you can imagine the scene. Everyone finishes their day, shows up here, has themselves a pint. They're singing their songs. It's getting rowdy, couple of fights breaking out. And that does not work for this man living down the street. Still, his family still owns the property today. His name is Yitzhak Armoza. He's a butcher. Back in those days, you didn't mess with the butchers. These guys were strong. I used to say the butchers could pick up the cow with one hand and do what they had to do with the other hand. These guys were tough. Armoza's had enough. He walks into the synagogue one day, puts 10 sterling pounds on the table. It's the beginning of the 20th century, 1920. He does this and tells everyone, clear out. I have just bought the bar. And the next day, he begins gutting the bar and turning it into a synagogue. Now, this big brawny guy, when he turns this into a synagogue, he doesn't just turn it into a synagogue. He turns it into the synagogue of chesed v'rachamim, of kindness and mercy. This is not just a synagogue. This is the soup kitchen. This is the Goodwill if you need clothing. This is where you go for free medical clinics. The quintessential tzabar, right? The sabra, prickly on the outside, puts 10 sterling pounds down, everyone clears out, and they're happy because at least he paid them something. But on the inside, he's sweet. He wants to make a center of kindness and mercy. It's interesting what we just did. I don't know how many of you paid attention to it. I see the groups are already crowding here. So this is the beauty of live, is that you actually take a look. Have we shown them who's here? Look at them. You got groups of all different kinds who are touring tonight, and we're gonna make space for all of them. חג שמח. קהילות מארצות הברית, כן, שעכשיו חווים קצת מישראל. This is the beauty of it. This is we're going to talk about spreading the light in just a moment, to be able to bring Jews from all over the world, Jews from all over the world, to connect with others here. That's something special, even if it's just a hello over Zoom. We're talking about light. I want to do a little experiment. I don't know how many of you noticed what happened, but what happens when you light a candle from a candle? It doesn't get too windy. Right? If I have an apple, and Aliza, my camerawoman, wants the apple, or maybe Aliza wants the sufganya, she doesn't want the apple, and I give her my sufganya, right? Aliza, the camerawoman, then gets the sufganya, and I don't have a sufganya, which is good for Aliza, and it's nice, and I'm happy that I was able to help her out and give her a sufganya. But if we can get the candle lit, I can show you. If not, we'll just talk about it. As you probably saw when we were lighting the Hanukiyah together, the Hanukkah menorah, the beauty of a candle, the beauty of a flame, when it's not windy, is that when you light a candle from another candle, not only does each candle keep the light, right? You don't have a situation where somebody is missing the light. When the flames come together, it becomes even greater. And this is not just the power of the candle, it's the power of kindness and mercy. It's the power of the good that we bring into the world. When we talk about lighting a candle, we're talking about, bringing good into the world. And the more good we do for people, the light doesn't extinguish itself. It just grows bigger and bigger and bigger. And we're gonna explore some of the light that exists here in Nachlaot, but I want to do a quick little detour right now and take you into the Mahane Yehuda market. We're going to very carefully cross the street over here, but I want to give you a taste of Jerusalem. And when we're talking about Hanukkah, the market is a very important place, because we know that the measurement for how long you can light the candles, the latest you can light candles, is until the final foot steps out of the marketplace. So as long as we see people walking around in the marketplace, we know that we're good. But in addition to that, let's do a little sufganya hunting. We'll stop here, marzipan, real quick, just to show you, just so anyone who's missing their rugulach fix, you can go real quick. Aliza, let's give them a good view. Let's let them get jealous for a minute of the rugulach, the famous chocolate rugulach of marzipan, right over here, gooey chocolates. But we're not here for the rugulach tonight. We're here for the sufganya. So let's go see this. There's one sufganya left over here. It's the miracle sufganya of Hanukkah, apparently. It's a very plain sufganya. I want to go see if we can find some of the better sufganya. Let's see what's left. Last night of Hanukkah, this is the last night that everyone's going crazy. Throughout the city, the bakeries have been trying to outdo each other with the sufganyot, with the Hanukkah donuts, the deep fried batter, of course, reminding us the miracle of the jug of oil that lasted 8 crazy nights. Let's see what we can find and also make our way into the market. As we do, Elisa's going to give you the bird's eye view here. As we do, Gil, if there are any questions, I am happy to take them right now.
Anyone, feel free to unmute if you want to even give us a nice comment about what we see.
He's doing an amazing job. This is really impressive.
What time is it?
What time is it in Jerusalem?
In Jerusalem right now, it is now almost 8:30. I don't know what the time difference is with all of the different locales that are tuning in, but it's almost 8:30 here in Jerusalem. Yeah. Anything else? All right. 1 minute, we're going to make our way into the market. I don't know when the last time it was that you visited here. Oh wait, Eliza, let's go this. Yeah, let's go this.
Johnny, if you have any comments about the artwork, we can see on this when the stores are closed.
Absolutely, that is a great comment, Gil. The artwork is actually what we just saw. It wasn't an original, but there's a young artist whose name is Solomon Souza. And Solomon Souza, oh, now we're going to get a good view of it. Come this way, Lisa. We'll do a quick little detour for you. Okay, come take a look. What we're looking at are these incredible portraits by an artist named Solomon Souza, who's a young British artist. He's about 27 years old. And he decided, along with one of his friends, whose name is Beryl, that they were going to paint the shutters of the Mahane Yehuda market. They're going to take advantage of these blank canvases. And the real idea was, at night, yes, so that there'd be something beautiful for people to see. But the other idea was that on Shabbat, when the market shuts down, this can become an art gallery, a one-of-a-kind art gallery. For anyone who keeps Shabbat or doesn't keep Shabbat, they can come here. It gives Jerusalem a Shomer Shabbat option for everyone to come together around, to unite around. They've done over 200 of these paintings so far. I cannot tell you who everyone is. These look like they're pretty new, actually. Once upon a time, I knew them, but they've just kept on growing and growing and growing. And it's inspired all of the other stalls to create artwork of their own, not necessarily Solomon Souza, but it's made it become a trend that everyone wants to get in. The original idea by Solomon and his partner Beryl was to create an art gallery of people who have done incredible things for the Jewish people and for the world, and pay tribute to them. I want to stop here for one moment. And let's just show them what we're looking at over here. A quintessential Jerusalem moment here. We're in the middle of the Mahane Yehuda market. We have a former vegetable basta, former vegetable stand that was converted into a synagogue in the 1980s when the owner retired, and he gave this to his friends as a gift so that they wouldn't have to pray in the middle of the fish stalls. And it's a little crowded, but I want to stop here for a moment. In front of this relatively new restaurant, I need to say something very important. Baruch she'asa li nes b'makom hazeh. Blessed are you, O Lord our God, who did a miracle for me in this place. Because it was not on a Hanukkah night, but on a June night in the middle of my final exams in university, that I came here to say goodbye to a friend, and this beautiful girl walks in and sits down next to me. And I spent the whole night talking with her. At the end of the night, I got her number, and that is how I met my wife. In this place over here, I say maybe because of the credits of whoever was praying in that synagogue. But whatever the reason, whatever the merit, the bottom line is, this is a place that for me a personal miracle happened. And when we talk about miracles in tradition, we stop. We don't take miracles for granted. The fact is that we have 8 nights of Hanukkah, 8 nights celebrating the incredible miracle of a jar of oil. And even in our personal lives, when something special happens, we stop to acknowledge it. And every time I walk by that place, I have to stop and say, thank you, God, for that miracle, because without it, who knows where I would be now. I hope you're getting a feeling for how happening it is in the market. It's one for gentrification. over the years. Not the gentrification over the years. There's still vegetable stalls, but now at night the vegetable stalls are converted into bars and restaurants and places for people to just come and have a good time. Come out here. We're going to go into the main part of the market now. And Gil, if there's any other questions, I'm happy to take them.
Someone asked about the no mask on people's faces.
Okay, that's a great question. The mask mandate still exists, but inside closed buildings. In Israel now, because of the vaccination rates, and now also because we've seen, the R number has dropped. The decision by the Ministry of Health is that outside, when there's open spaces and it's not crowded, you can actually take your mask off and breathe the fresh air. So that's why we're not seeing masks outside. If you go inside, you will see masks. Anything else, Gil?
People loving this, Yoni.
Wonderful. We're going to give you a site. I'm here with Bracha, and she's pointing out the Hanukiyot in the houses right above the market, because people actually live above the market. This is a living and breathing site. It's not just a tourist site. And of course, I wanted to take you just so you can see what I said before. Until the final foot leaves the market, the Hanukkah lights are being lit and are burning. You should have been here for the scene when Chabad was lighting their giant Hanukiyah. They had a whole party that was out earlier today, everyone dancing around. What's the concept? What's this idea of, of lighting as long as people are still in the market? The whole concept is what's called Pirsume Nisa, right? To publicize the miracle. We don't just light these candles for no reason. We don't just light the candles for no reason. These candles are a testimony to the miracle that happened all those years ago, about 2,100 years ago in Jerusalem, when the Maccabees overcame the mighty Seleucid, the mighty Syrian Greeks, rededicated the temple and found that one jar of oil that lasted for so long. And we want everyone to know, we want to recognize the miracles, like I did back there. We want the world to see, hey, something special happened. We acknowledge that, and to look at the candles and say, oh, why are you lighting that? What is the story here? So Chabad does a great job of lighting here in the marketplace. And we're going to now head out of the markets to see in the neighborhoods and in the alleys the Hanukiyot that have been lit by everyone else in order to publicize this miracle. And of course, we should understand the metric is until people leave the market. As long as there are people outside and wandering around, there's somebody to see the candle. So you are now, by virtue of zooming in with us and by the miracle of modern technology, we'll talk about miracles, you are now helping everyone fulfill that commandment of publicizing the miracle. All right, make
the only question.
Go for it. Perfect timing.
So first, is that true that the market is completely closed on the Shabbat, or do some stores remain open?
All right. Well, if you want to nitpick about it, hold on. We're just going to wait to get a good shot over here, Elisa, so everyone can see the market as we wait for the bus to go by. If you want to nitpick about it, right, the main market is all closed. Nobody will be open. There are a couple of restaurants, a couple of sites on the outskirts of the market that will be open. They're not kosher restaurants, but they are open on Shabbat. But again, it's like on the outskirts down there. The main market is closed. It's a very clear status quo. Very much agreed that we don't open up in the main Mahane Yehuda markets on Shabbat. Anything else?
In light of recent events, do you see any stronger security?
It's a good question. I would say that when you're on the western side of Jerusalem and you're in the more touristy areas, everything's pretty much the same. Closer you get to the tourist areas of the old city is when you might see a little bit of an increase in security, a couple more police forces out than normally before. But I would say in my day to day, and again, I live here on the western side of Jerusalem, so it's not representative of anyone who might live closer to the old city or beyond the old city in eastern Jerusalem. My day to day, I don't really feel so much of a difference. Although somewhere subconsciously we're a little more vigilant. But I haven't seen a more increased police presence in areas like Mahane Yehuda and the center of town. That's really reserved for the areas around the old city.
And in terms of lighting Hanukiyah and traditions, are there any differences between Sephardi and Ashkenazi?
Oh boy. This is where my Ashkenazi roots kick in, and I have to admit that I was raised in an Ashkenazi bubble. But there is a difference in terms of the understanding. I'm going to get it totally wrong, and maybe the rabbi can correct me. But there's a difference in understanding between Sfardis and Ashkenazis regarding who needs to light how many Hanukiyot in each house. Ner ishu veito, right? The commandment is each person needs to light a candle in the house. Ashkenazim say that it's one person, right?
There's different customs.
Different customs.
Yeah, but the main Ashkenazi custom is that everybody very common, everybody lights their own.
Right, everyone lights their own when you're Ashkenazi, and Sephardim are more like family-centric, one menorah. This is good. This is why it's good to have a pocket rabbi who can help me out when I'm in a pinch over here. It was good. You stumped the tour guide. Full of kavod, everyone. I knew I was going to get that one wrong. I want to do something a little weird. Yeah, we have time for this. I want to do something kind of weird. I see there's a group down there, and we'll try to give them a little space. It's not the most well lit, so I apologize as we go down, but I want to show you this kind of crazy Nachlaot experience that we have in this alleyway over here. So come with me, and like I said, watch your step because it's a little bit dark over here until we get down to the lights. But this is one of a kind. This is this kind of tiny little alleyway in between streets. And if you don't know about it, you would never know there was anything special other than a shortcut and a cut through. What we have over here, right over here, this area over here is actually an incredible Kabbalistic, one of the famous Jerusalem Kabbalistic mystical yeshivas, the Nahar Shalom Yeshiva, the Nahar Shalom Seminary. And this gentleman over here, I'm going to send Aliza to just give you a view without disturbing the group of the gentleman on the wall over there. His name is Rabbi Mordechai Shirabi, and he was the rabbi of the Nahar Shalom Synagogue, of the Nahar Shalom Yeshiva, the Nahar Shalom Seminary. And so he used to live here. So this is basically considered his backyard, which for many people makes this into a holy spot. And that's why what we have over here, we can see this group that has stopped here to light a candle. Actually, I think we'll make our way through as well. There's a tradition that when you are, at the grave of, well, we know this is not just the grave of a holy person, of anyone who we loved, who touched us, who, did something for our lives. You light a candle in their memory. We know that God's candle is described as man's soul in tradition. So to remember Rabbi Shirabi, many people have the tradition of coming here and lighting a candle in his merit and praying that the light of the candle kind of, becomes the light, it becomes the light of the merit. And through his merit, through remembering him, got to make this stick. Remember, there's candles over here. So remembering him with this candle, there's a belief or a tradition that we ask, for his soul and his merit to kind of give us a little bit of credit. We don't pray to him, but we pray to God in the merit of Rabbi Shirabi. And all of this exists here in this tiny little alleyway here in Nachlaot, you have this shrine to this holy man here with all of these candles, all of these people who come here, to take a moment to remember his life and be inspired by the light that his life was for so many people. For years, I used to cross through this alleyway just as a shortcut, never fully understanding what it actually meant. Huh? Slicha?
Did you know him?
I didn't know him, unfortunately. No, I just know of him. So we're gonna make our way now back up the stairs out of the alleyway. We're doing a lot of renovation here. I hope that soon this will be a little bit more of a respectable site. And feel a little bit more like a shrine, but welcome to Nachlaot. Once upon a time, by the way, you want to get a sense of what kind of a neighborhood this is, you would light a candle here, and then you would go up the stairs, turn the corner, and hit more of that funky graffiti and a second-hand store. And it's just like this intersection of the holy and the hipster all at once. You've got like the holy Kabbalistic mystical side and Hasidic kind of spiritual feeling here in the neighborhood, but also a lot of art students who moved here over the years, a lot of students as well, who were encouraged to move here originally by discounts in rent that were given by the municipality. And eventually, this just became the happening place for all the young people to be as we walk by one of the many study halls that you can see here. Like I said, it's just like this meeting point of so many different cultures because you have 32 different neighborhoods and all of the characters that come with it. I will take a break now. If there are any questions, Gil, I'm happy to take them.
Yes, in fact. So we're going back to basics. Where does the name Nachlaot come from?
That's a great question. Thank you. All right. Nachlaot, the root of Nachlaot is Nachala, portion. And you can guess it comes from the fact that there are 32 different portions here in Nachlaot, 32 different neighborhoods. So these are the Nachlaot. Technically speaking, if you want the official name of the neighborhood, it's Lev Ha'ir, the heart of the city, for two reasons. One, because it's in the heart of Jerusalem. And two is because Lev in Gematria, the numerical value of the word for heart, the Lamed, and the Bet, if you take their numerical value, it's 32, representing those 32 neighborhoods. I want to give you a quick glimpse into this synagogue over here. It's generally not lit up. I'm just going to give you a quick glimpse in here. I hope no one gets too upset. This was my synagogue. I used to pray at this synagogue every Friday night. And it is a Persian synagogue. It's in the Persian neighborhood of Nachlaot. As you saw, though, there's a lot of study halls and synagogues here. So you can imagine the scene on a Friday night, and I'll just give some safety instructions for those who are joining us. You can just stand beyond the poles over there so you're not in the middle of the active street. You too, Eliza, you can film from there. Just want to make sure no one gets hurt. You come here on a Friday night and there's this familiar niggin, there's this familiar tune going on through the streets. And it's, hey, you want to be the 10th man for our minyan? Because all of the Orthodox synagogues here are looking for that 10th man who can fulfill the quorum so that they can get started praying on Friday night. And it boggled my mind. I couldn't figure out why it is that you have a synagogue over there and a synagogue over here and a synagogue over there, and they're all going out and begging for begging to have that final 10th man. So I asked my friend Tomer, who is the gabbai, who is in charge, who runs the synagogue. He said, Tomer, what is the deal? Here, we can continue on this way. We'll get some lights on the way. I said, Tomer, what's the deal? And he said, listen, Yoni, my great-grandfather founded this synagogue. Originally, the story is, it wasn't a synagogue, it was a school. Raphael Chaim Kohen, Tomer's great-grandfather, when he was here in the early 20th century and the Persian Jews were just returning home, it was the poorest neighborhood. And he says there was no public school. Children are playing in garbage heaps on the streets. He says, what can we do to make this situation better? how can we light a light in the lives of these children? How can we make sure that the Jewish tradition stays alive, that these children have a future, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel for them? And he says it all begins with education. We need education. So he fundraises and builds that school over there. Once you have a school like that here in the middle of, the poor neighborhood, once you have a building like that, naturally the adults begin to come there as well for classes when the school is closed at night. And if they're already going there for classes, then they are going to show up for evening prayers as well, right after those classes. And little by little, what they saw is that this vision that Raphael Chaim Cohen had for the children, it worked. They went to the school. They studied Torah and they studied, they learned basic knowledge. They grew up. They had families of their own. They left the neighborhood to start their families. The school got too small for all of the children that they had. And when the school moved to a bigger location, then it became a synagogue. And Tomer, my friend, who's now the sexton, who now runs this synagogue, he says, Yoni, there's this whole incredible story here, this whole incredible history of my great-grandfather. You want to tell me that because I'm missing one person, I should shut the door on my family's heritage and my family's tradition? You want to tell me that because I'm short a couple of men, it's better for me to shut the light of my heritage and tradition out? Because there were times where he would send people to go pray with the quorum, but he would stay behind and pray himself, because you don't shut a door on tradition. You have to have that flame, that torch of tradition. It needs to carry on for all of the years. We're heading now into the more ultra-Orthodox area of Nachlaot. We're going to try to spot some of the final Hanukkah lights of tonight. I don't know if you want to play I Spy. Here, we got one over here. You want to start your Hanukiyah count, your Hanukkah menorah count. If you haven't been counting now, we're going to make sure that you get some good looks. I'm going to try to take you through some of the best alleyways. If there are any questions as we make our way to these neighborhoods, I'm happy to take them. Oh, we got some over here. Wow, look at that, right up there in the window in a beautiful display case.
No questions on chat yet, but anyone, if you have any comment or question, you may even unmute now and go ahead.
All right, so until we have questions, I'll say that we're basically on the outskirts of the Lithuanian neighborhood right now. So we started off, we were in the Ashkenazi, the regular European Jewish neighborhood. We shifted over, we passed by the Sephardic, the Middle Eastern neighborhood. We went into the market and then into the Persian neighborhood. And now we're passing the Lithuanian Jewish neighborhood. What's interesting is that the Lithuanian Jews and the Hasidic Jews, right, the more Polish Jews, they very much differ. They very much differ in their approach, right? The Lithuanians say it's all about the text and it's all about the prayers, and we find God in the text. The Hasidim, who we're going to meet on the other side, they find God, in song and dance, and it's not just limited to text. They can look around the world and find God here as well and connect to God through the beauty of the world. They live right across from each other. They've managed to coexist, I would say, because for both of them, what connects them is the light of this tradition that we were just talking about, the light of Torah and the light of this heritage that has been maintained for all of these years. And I am going to take a step back, because this is the most beautiful alley, in my opinion, in all of Nachlaot. I'm just going to let Eliza give you some good views here as we walk through. Wow. Just every corner here is a Hanukiyah. Every corner here is some light that's being spread. And we know that this light, we're not supposed to do anything with it. Ein lanu reshut lehishtamesh bahem, ela lirotam bilvad. We don't have any permission to use these candles. We're only supposed to look at them and to, to see them and to enjoy the light. And it's interesting, if you look in the Talmud, actually one of the big prohibitions, is not just using them for something, but specifically what's called out is you're not allowed to use the Hanukkah candles for counting money. You don't use these candles to count money. Basically, if you have been counting money by the Hanukkah candles, you've been doing it all wrong. And my rabbi, named Rabbi Yaakov Nagain, he tries to explain this actually through The Little Prince, if anyone's read this book. And he says, what does it mean? You're not supposed to count your money. If anyone's read The Little Prince, there's this scene in The Little Prince where this little prince who's traveling the galaxies, traveling around in outer space and meeting all these interesting characters who are teaching him valuable lessons on life. He meets this businessman, and this businessman is sitting there counting the stars. And the little prince looks at him and goes, well, what are you doing? Why are you counting the stars? He says, I'm counting the stars so that I own them. When I count the stars, I own them. He says, okay, and what good is it to you to own the stars? And he says, well, if I own the stars, then I can buy more stars with them. Okay, that's really weird. What is it? You're counting stars that you can have more, you can buy more stars. When does it ever end? And then basically the next chapter, the little prince meets a lamplighter whose job it is to light a lamp on this tiny little planet that every couple of seconds, every couple of minutes, the planet orbits, it rotates, and it goes from day to night to day to night. And this guy has this Sisyphean mission of just running in circles, lighting the lamps. The little prince said, that guy, out of all the people I've met, even though they would probably laugh at him, that guy's the only one who I actually appreciate because he's doing something that isn't just about him. And when we look at the Hanukkah candles and we look at the beauty of these candles, we don't count our money there, because if you're just taking this light so you can count your money and count your riches and there it ends, then you've missed the whole point. You need to understand that the Hanukkah candles it's an experience and it's a tool. And it's a tool for us to be able to spread more light, like the lamplighter, to do something that's not just for us. It's not just about our money. It's about spreading the light, like we just saw. And also just taking a moment to appreciate the beauty, of this world. Especially in this age, I think this is super important. In this age, it's all become about everything you see, you have to take a picture of, right? If you haven't taken a picture of it, it hasn't happened. But with the Hanukkah candles, we kind of, I don't know if what the sages would have said about, people who post a picture of Hanukkah candles to Instagram. And, if you're getting likes from that, is that considered using the candles for something? But what I think is the main point is that when we look at these candles, we're just supposed to be in the moment, to take stock, to appreciate the beauty and the miracles that are all around us. And I want to take us through one final neighborhood to our last stop of the tour. So, Joe, over here we've got the Lithuanians. We're going to walk through the Batei Rand neighborhood now, the Hasidic neighborhood. Both of these neighborhoods, like I mentioned, were primarily for Torah scholars, to provide housing for Torah scholars so they could focus on their Torah studies and tend to that flame of tradition. So we've entered into the Hasidic courtyard right now. We're going to take a quick view here before heading to our final location. And Gil, if there are any questions Let's have them.
Yes, we actually have a few. So first, the cages, the boxes that they put the Hanukiyah inside, they used outside of Hanukkah, around the year.
Great question. Generally speaking, they're called actually aquariums in in the local slang. The aquariums are used primarily for Hanukkah. For the most part, you actually won't see them outside of homes unless somebody's installed it in a way that they have it there throughout the year. Generally speaking, it's just kind of like the mount that you'll see throughout the year. And on Hanukkah, they bring the aquarium out. The only other occasion that I think I've seen one being used is if somebody wants to light a yard site candle outside of their house. But you don't really see that. It's really just for Hanukkah. And this is special. Take a look over here at it's almost like a ladder of Hanukiyot, of Hanukkah menorahs that we have over here. This is really the primary function of these boxes. Anything else?
Yes. So you were talking about the money and not counting the money, but we know about Hanukkah geld. How does that come to reality? And it's money in Hanukkah.
Okay, so Hanukkah geld is
well.
Hanukkah geld is a nice tradition for the kids, right? Hanukkah geld is something we give the kids to get them involved, and as a nice little present. By the Hanukkah candles, I would say we have a problem. If the kids are counting their Hanukkah geld, they spin the dreidel to remember at least the legend of the dreidel. My daughter. This is the crazy thing about having a daughter in an Israeli preschool. She comes home with all of these things that I never would have thought to tell her. It sends me back to when I was her age. The legend of the dreidel, right, was that during the time of all of these decrees by Antiochus and the Greeks, it was forbidden to study Torah. But because we needed to tend to the flame, the Jewish people would continue to study Torah in secret. And if a group of Greek soldiers would come by, somebody would give a little whistle, and out come the spinning tops. Oh, no, we weren't. We were just, we were doing some gambling here. We weren't actually studying Torah, doing anything wrong. So that's also a part of the story. If they're counting their winnings, everyone's done that before. If they're counting it specifically using the Hanukkah lights, that's when we have the problem. Anything else?
So I had a question in private chat. I don't know, did anyone see it already? Is it the same walking around the streets in Israel? Is it the same about this menorah-lined streets?
I didn't quite catch the question.
Is it a typical view when you walk the streets of Israel to see so many Hanukiyah?
Yes, definitely in a city like Jerusalem. In a city like Jerusalem, where you have, a concentration of more traditional religious Jews, you will see it. See it in places like Tzfat as well. It's a very typical thing. These tours happen here all the time throughout Hanukkah, but they're specifically done in places with the beautiful alleyways, where people have the ability to also, step out of their doorstep and light the Hanukkah lights out here. But it's I would say special to Israel, but also very special to neighborhoods like Nachlaot and the like. There's the groups that are coming. This is like the biggest traffic is for this door right over here. So I just want to point out the door that we have over here, and then I'll turn it over to the next group here. Eliza, let's just show them. Let's show them who used to live here. This rabbi over here, a man by the name of Rabbi Ari Levine. I'm gonna shift over so we don't disturb this group and they don't disturb us. I'm walking down Rabbi Ari Levine's street. This is a man who is considered the saint of Jerusalem. Somebody who is probably the most famous resident of Jerusalem, and for good reason. Here, maybe we'll stop over here with the incredible mural of Rabbi Ari Levine in the background. I could tell you I don't know how many stories about Rabbi Ari Levine. There's literally been a book written with just the stories of Rabbi Ari Levine, who we're seeing immortalized in that incredible Solomon Sousa work of art over there. Rabbi Levine was considered to be the father of the prisoners. He was requested by the British to serve as the clergyman for the Jewish prisoners in the British prison system. Originally, they were just petty thieves. Eventually became those who fought and were caught in the underground forces of the Haganah, the pre-state army, Jewish army, the Haganah, the Irgun, the Etzel of Begin, and the Lehi, freedom fighters. And Rabbi Levine, when he was first approached by British soldiers saying, hey, we want you to be, this rabbi for the prisoners, he said, no, I'm not the right person for the job. Okay, they come back a couple of times, eventually convince him to take the job, but he says, only on the condition that I do this for free. And from that moment on, he went from Nachlaot to the Russian compound, a good 20-minute walk, every Shabbat, no matter what the weather was, to sit with not just the Jewish prisoners, but eventually also some of the Muslim prisoners as well, who saw in him somebody with a big heart and a shoulder for them to cry on when needed. Two stories to end our time together. I have to tell these two stories. My favorite story and my wife's favorite story. My favorite story takes place in the Eitz Chaim school right behind the Mahane Yehuda market, where Rabbi Levine was the spiritual guidance counselor. And one day in Eitz Chaim, there is a 9-year-old boy comes into the cafeteria and sees that for dessert, they have chocolate pudding. He does what any 9-year-old boy does. He runs to the front of the line, grabs himself a cup of chocolate pudding, scarfs the whole thing down, goes back into the line, and then goes to get the rest of his lunch and, of course, another cup of chocolate pudding. When the lunch man sees him, he says, you, what chutzpah you have. You've already had a cup of chocolate pudding. Your friends are waiting. No pudding for you. And this poor boy, the Yom Huledet in the background, that's what we're hearing. This poor boy is so embarrassed, he loses it. And he rears back and kicks the cart with all the chocolate pudding, and it flies everywhere. And then the lunchman grabs him by the collar and says, now you're in for it. Tomorrow you have a meeting with Rabbi Ari Levine, and he'll sort you out. So after a sleepless night, this boy, trembling, walks into Rabbi Levine's office and sits in front of his desk. Rabbi Levine shows up, looks at the boy and says, is it true what I heard about the chocolate pudding? And the boy says, yes, Rabbi, it's true. Okay. Do you promise never to do it again? Yes, Rabbi, it was a huge mistake. I promise I'll never do it again. Rabbi Levine thinks for a minute, says, okay, good. Gets up from his desk, goes to his closet, opens up the closet, pulls out 2 cups of chocolate pudding, puts a spoon in each one to the boy, one for himself, looks at the boy and says, I want you to know that I also really love chocolate pudding. Final story, my wife's favorite story, is Rabbi Levine had a tradition to walk through these alleys of Nachlaot and be the first person to say good morning. You can imagine he's walking down the street in the morning, he sees someone, goes over to say good morning to him. This was his thing. He goes to say good morning to this boy that he sees, and he's shocked to see that the boy runs away down a different alley. Okay, it's weird, but life goes on until a couple weeks later, he sees this boy again. He goes to say hi to him and goes down another alley. Now he's starting to get suspicious. So the next time he sees this boy, and the boy takes off down one of the alleys, Rabbi Levine says, I'll cut him off by going a roundabout way. And then he grabs the boy and says, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Rabbi, what are you sorry for? Oh, no, but whatever it is that I did that makes you run away from me every time you see me. And Rabbi Levine looks at him and says, no, you don't understand. The boy looks at him and says, Rabbi, it's not you. It's me. I'm having my issues. I decided a couple months ago, I'm not wearing a kippah anymore. I took it off. But I see a rabbi like you and I'm bareheaded. It's embarrassing. I don't want to offend you. And Rabbi Levine looks at him and says, you're very sweet. You're very kind to think of me and consider my feelings, but you forgot something. I'm very short. Rabbi Levine was about this high, right? He was shorter than I am. He says, I'm very short. My eyes can't see what's on your head. My eyes are at heart level. They only see what's in your heart. That's how this rabbi is able to look at this boy with chocolate pudding and say, here, I also love chocolate pudding, because he looked into people's hearts and into their souls. We know that inside each and every single person's soul, there's a spark and there's a light. And if we really want to spread the light, It begins by trying to see the light in others, understanding that everyone, we have this incredible song in Israel, Banu choshech legaresh, Banu choshech legaresh, beyadenu or ba'esh, right? We've come to get rid of the darkness with the torches in our hand. And then the best line is, Kol echad hu or katan. Every single one of us is a small light, vikulanu or eitan. And all of us together are great lights. When we can take the different lights that we see inside each and every single person's soul, be it the light of tradition, the light of kindness, the light of understanding, whatever it is, we can look into another person's soul and see it and take our light and bring it to them as well. That's how Kol echad or katan, we all have this one little light, the kulanu or eitan, we all become one great light together. So as we finish our time here together and as we finish Hanukkah for this year, I bless all of us that we have the ability to bring our light out into the world, to connect those flames together and create an even greater flame for everyone to see, especially in these dark times. Thank you so much for joining me here.
And I want to thank Yoni. And what you all don't know is Yoni risked his life tonight because he did something that no one can ever do, which is he walked backwards in the streets of Jerusalem and in the shuk. And it's a dangerous thing. You never know who you might run into, and he didn't. So we really want to thank Yoni and thank all of you for being with us.
It's really my pleasure and an honor to be with all of you and to bring you here to Jerusalem. I guess the only thing left to say is Leshana Haba Yerushalayim, next year in Jerusalem, but face to face, please. No more Zoom. If not, then we'll do Zoom again, but ideally face to face. Gil, thank you so much, and over to you.
Thank you, Yoni. Before we say, some final words from LaDonna from Peoria.
Yeah. Hi, I'm LaDonna Fishkin from Peoria, Illinois. And Yoni, that was amazing. Such a personal and unique experience. And to allow us to gather through this Zoom, we just appreciate being able to stand with you in this beauty of all the light. And your stories were so special. So thank you to all that, signed on. But Yoni, amazing. And I was like with Baracha, when I saw some of the things that I was afraid would tip you over, you managed to navigate beautifully. So thank you for a great experience.
And everyone is welcome to join us for our next events and programs. Please go on our Facebook page and our website. Even just Google up Partnership Together Western Galilee and you'll get there. So looking forward to seeing everyone either on Zoom, preferably in person, very soon, healthy. So take care, enjoy the last day of Hanukkah, and see you soon.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
Happy
Chag Sameach.
Thank you. Hello, Ori.